Flesh was never meant to be shaped like clay, yet our lands are home to twisted forms, beings warped beyond what nature intended. These abominations are created with ancient symbols called valachains. When they are arranged together in sequences called valachains and then carved into living flesh, they warp the body and mind. Many abominations that were once human appear vastly different from the human form, and this is due in no small part to one specific valachain, Sculpt Form. When Sculpt Form is carved into living flesh, the biological material surrounding and beneath the wound enters a localized stasis. The rest of the body remains as it was, but the affected area changes. Bone, muscle, skin, even the blood take on a single uniform consistency, becoming pliable like wet clay. In this state, the flesh can be reshaped in any way the sculptor desires. Pieces of the same body can be removed and replaced with the other tissue under Sculpt Form's effect. This trait alone has pushed the limits of what an abomination can look like. The localized stasis lasts usually a day to a week. During that time, the bearer feels everything. Every shifting tissue sends lances of pain throughout the body. The agony is so intense that most subjects are kept fully restrained to avoid any destruction of the sculptor's work. After the duration of Sculpt Form, the malleable material slowly turns back into its original consistency, a likely disturbing sensation for the bearer. Many subjects pass during this period, especially if vital organs were sculpted. Limbs and other extremities are much less risky to shape. Physicians still do not understand how a body can survive these alterations. No mortal hand could arrange such precision, yet dissected bodies show incredible adaptations. In sculpted areas, veins, bones, muscle, and other internals materialize in functional ways. There is no way the sculptors themselves planned every placement of internals. Like other unexplainable mutations caused by valachains, we attribute the unknown to Matamoros, the god of change, the being believed to have gifted Valachains to humanity. More intensive rearrangements can be made when more Sculpt Form valachains are carved. In a process called chaining, extra copies of the same valachain are carved attaching at least one point to the previous. This chaining greatly increases the area of effect. However, valachains can only be chained if their rotations match, or if they are rotated by 90 degrees. Sculpt Form has a trait that makes it unlike any other valachain. Normally, if a valachain wound is damaged before it heals, it triggers catastrophic reactions of matter warping that can end the bearer and others around them. With Sculpt Form, the valachains twist and vanish beneath shifting flesh without incident. The sculptor can even hide the valachain entirely, leaving no scar and no visible trace. In the Flesh Forge, beauty is redefined. Skilled sculptors use Sculpt Form to shape humans and animals into grotesque or specialized forms. Some changes are functional, while others are cosmetic. Humans bent into quadrupeds to serve as carriers and feeders. The Forge's infamous living furniture is only possible through Sculpt Form's effect. Typically in the Flesh Forge, cosmetic changes do not equate to the Skirmar Empire's view of beauty. The Forge finds beauty in warped forms. Since the valachains and their mutation powers supposedly come from their god, Matamoros, they typically use Sculpt Form to exaggerate the separation from humanity. Even outside the Flesh Forge, Sculpt Form has found purpose. Here in the Skirmar Empire, where valachain carving is punishable by death, its ability to conceal is priceless. Secretive valachain bearers use it to bury other valachains beneath unmarked skin, which can hide proof of mutation. On the black market, some wealthy clients seek it for transformation and vanity, reshaping their bodies. Criminals have used it to vanish from the public eye, reappearing under new skin and new names. Assassins have been sculpted into the likeness of their targets to infiltrate estates. We also believe the Flesh Forge is responsible for many of them, having spies infiltrating the populace, perhaps even the ruling and religious classes. But not every sculptor is skilled enough to reform a body and keep it looking human. Us Skirmari call them molds. Something about them never feels right. Their proportions and features are strange. Movements, especially in the face, are noticeably off. A heavy air of suspicion weighs on Skirmar Empire territory. While they can't be proven to be abominations since their scars are hidden, they are usually treated as if they are. The law itself does not condone unproven punishment of Valachain use, but civilians and zealots take the law into their own hands. The process of carving valachains, however, demands great skill. A single misplaced line in a carving can warp everything around it, or induce uncontrolled mutations. Even with these risks, demand never wanes. Sculpt Form offers something no other Valachain can. The power not only to change your form, but to erase the proof it was ever altered. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more lore from the world of salt and flesh.